let's go into, okay, so there's two things that we got to hit. One of them is the time that you spend in NA. The other one is obviously the 2019 break. I guess the first thing, because I assume that we'll spend most of the time on 2019 and what ended up happening like throughout that year for you personally. But let's jump back to 2015, because 2016, you were talking about, you said you almost got relegated your first split here. You're like one game away, or like one best of 5 away from being relegated. You know, I remember you telling me that you would have been the first player to get relegated in NA and EU, so, you know, you're kind of going for that accomplishment, but unfortunately it wasn't completely...
It would have been historical. It would have been so historical, and it would be something, you know, whenever I would look back at the time as a player, 20 years in the future, that would be something I would be proud of, you know?
Yeah.
Relegated in both NA and EU.
Sounds good.
That would definitely be a highlight, you know?
So just going into like your time in NA, obviously you joined NME, you qualified. Were you part of the team? I believe you were part of the team that qualified to LCS, right? Like you played in Challenger briefly. Okay, so you played in Challenger briefly, qualified with the team into LCS, and then you played NA LCS with a bunch of people with flares. You know, I think was that when Inax played mid or something? Like I don't know. It was So it was a crazy team. And yeah, I just wanted to like know about your experiences. Like, how was it playing in NA at that time? Like, could you already tell that it was, you know, worse than EU, or what was your perception of the region?
So to put things into context a little bit, this was I flew to America a couple of months after I got removed from H2K. So I got contacted by an NA team that wanted to join. Because I mean, at the time I did not really have any options, at least good options in EU. So I was like, why not try to go to NA? At that time, there was not this like huge NA is so much worse than EU kind of perspective that there is nowadays. So I went over there, and it was a little bit all over the place. Not gonna lie, like from an organizational standpoint, it was a little bit crazy. Like so my first encounter was, I just finished. It's called gymnasium here in Denmark. So it's literally just before you go to university.
College, yeah.
So I finished that, and then half a year later I flew to America, and I was very excited to go over there and play. I arrived in San Diego, I believe, at the time, because that was where the house was I was supposed to go to. And I arrived, and I was supposed to get picked up, and no one is there to pick me up. So I'm just standing there for like an hour looking for. No, so I mean I'm in the airport waiting to get picked up by my manager, and I look around and I can't find him, and I try to call him, and there's nothing happening. So luckily for me, I had printed out the address of where I was supposed to be. So after an hour or something, I just decided to go there and knock on the door, and I found out that he overslept, and I get into this room, and I get like this the smallest room I've ever seen, where I have a desk, and I have a small mattress and a blanket and a PC to play, and that's it. And this is in California, where in around January, where it was like a little bit chilly at night, and it was so cold at night.
You just sat there,
like literally, I had like 3-4 layers of clothes on, because the building didn't keep the heat. So like that was my first. This was my first interaction, like literally my first day in NA, and I was like, so what the fuck am I doing? You know, that was like, I remember me in the first night, and it was terrible experience. But over the time, I just spent like a month in that house just playing solo queue, and spamming the game. I think I got to like really high rank in NA at the time, top 10 or something, maybe even better. And so I was just, you know, like, I just loved the game, so I just kept playing. And then eventually we would move on to a better house, and facilities got better, and then we would have a real gaming house, and we just won in challenge scene. And it was when the challenge scene was like super broken, where the best team would just like auto qualify. We didn't have to play like a relegation match to get into it.
Oh wait, that actually sounds so good.
Yeah, so you just like auto qualified, and it was so insane because I think looking at it now, like we didn't really have that great of a team, but we got in and it was fun. And then 3 months later we got relegated, and I went back to EU and got picked up by Splice. So I mean, it was just like a big. I did not ever feel that like NA was like. It was at the time. It was like so. The scene was so fresh in a lot of ways that it was hard for me to see like why NA has struggled. But there was definitely not the same level of discipline and willingness to put in the hours. At least from my perspective, I was putting in a lot more hours than the people that I was playing with on the same team. So. From like a work ethic standpoint, I saw some issues there, but I mean, the information is so limited because it's only based on the team I was on, so I can't come and say like, you know, this is why NA sucks or whatever, you know. So it was just like a brief in and out kind of situation, and yeah. That's just kind of what happened.
Nice. What happened, man? Because I remember when you came over, I tweeted out, I was like, oh, I think this guy is like, you know, gonna be one of the best junglers in the split. I remember like I had your back in an interview or something, and then your team gets relegated. Like you just wanted to make him look bad.
Pretty bad if you look at the lineup. Like it doesn't look like surely he wasn't even that good back then.
I never even really got to play against Trashy. You know, the 2 games I played against Trashy and LCS, like his team just botched like a 2v1, and I was just like super ahead for the rest of the game because his team just didn't know how to play 2v1. Like we never actually got to juggle against each other because the game was just like a 2v1 fiesta. So. I mean,
it's hard for me to say like how good I actually was at that time. But I think I was like pretty good because I was also high up rated in solo queue, and I was playing a lot. So I felt like I was good, but just the surroundings and the environment we had was just like we did not have like we didn't really have a coach. We kind of had a coach, and the players. I mean. Without
people don't know, it wasn't a very big org. It was like that org was one that was like for example, at the time, people have to remember even the difference between the top LCS orgs like TSM, Cloud9, Team, what was Curse or whatever back then. Like the difference between those orgs and the absolute bottom ones and the people coming up. I mean,
huge.
Massive, yeah. Like you say, people sleeping on mattresses on the floor. Like in that scenario, it's like you're hoping like the team itself has to improve as an org before you can get any better features. Never mind win LCS.
I mean, I was basically living in my suitcase for like 8 months because I just had all my stuff in a suitcase, and then wherever we went, I would have a mattress and a blanket, and that was where I would sleep. And then I would have a PC and a desk where I could practice, and that was kind of it, you know. I was not thinking too much about it because I was just happy to play. It was in that time of your career where just all you want is just to play. So does it really matter what is happening around you? But if I look at it from like a more professional perspective nowadays, it was definitely not the most professional environment we had because there was a lot of partying going on in the weekends, even when we were supposed to play, and a lot of stories that were just like crazy to me that it even happened. But I mean, it was fun, you know. Like I had a lot of fun in NA, and I would not trade the experience
more fun
that
region,
I had.
Baby. That's us. You know.
I mean, I believe in NA. You know, they just need the right people there. You know, so.
No, just we got to work on like teamwork, communication, gameplay, mechanics, mid game, late game, coaching,
being
draft, being Korean, better imports. Besides for all that, we're top tier. So.
Yeah. No, I know what he's talking about as well, because when I came to do those Cloud9 interviews, if anyone can remember back in like season, I think it was like the middle of season 5. So I remember Incarnation had just joined the team. I remember like Loco invited me to some like I can't remember if it was Loco or High or something like that. Someone invited me to like some house party they were hosting. And this is like, by the way, during LCS. Like this is like week 2 of LCS or something. Like they're just having a house party on the weekend. And mate, like half the people there were pro players in LCS, and the other half were all either like gamer girls or just complete like fuck boys. It was ridiculous. And I remember just thinking, if these people are doing this every like Friday, Saturday, like those same Korean kids are just fucking like loading up their 7th solo queue game in a row. Like, I should have done a bit of threshold. It's like, how are you going to beat that guy? Like, he's already better than you anyway. He's got a mad head start, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, it was wild. Like that was like the fun of being a pro, you know, because it was like it was so random. Like it just.
I mean, it was like, I mean, at the time we didn't really think too much about like what
you young guys, of course.
Yeah, you just. I mean, are we having a party? Of course we're having a party. You know, like why not? You know. We have a jacuzzi, we have a swimming pool, you know, just come over, you know, it's going to be fun. So, yeah.
And I was just doing shit like at this house party, just going up. And because, like, Piglet at the time was pretending he didn't speak any English. He didn't speak much, to be fair, but he definitely could if he wanted to. He was just a fucking moody kid. I was just getting Phoenix, who could speak English, to just translate stuff to Piglet as everyone was drinking, just to tilt him, like, so how did you manage to have a bigger ego than Faker? Like, shit like that. And then he'd, like, be thinking, like, the translation was wrong, like, what? And then they'd just say it again, and he'd be like, and I was just looking over like, just drinking like fucking.
Yeah, you know, I thought that was the craziest part about meeting Piglet was actually knowing that his perception of Season 3 Worlds was that like he was legitimately the hard carry of the team, and that Faker was like mediocre.
No, he thinks Faker was like Korean pole belter. He was like, listen, you did your job, Faker, but would you get the fuck out of me? Give me the ball and get out of my way. Yeah, he was on some shit like that. For real.
No, but it was actually like that. Like people think it was like a meme or something, but it was seriously like he thought he was like the 1v9 hard carry of the team, and then Faker was like just some fucking piss random. Like it was like, yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, I won the world championship with that guy, but he's just like, he's an okay player because like, you know, to us, like when he joined Curse Season 4, it's like, oh my god, dude, you played with Faker. Like he's the best player of all time. Like how was that experience? Like did you learn a lot? Like was it crazy? How did it feel to just always have like your mid solo killing every single game for like an entire year? He's like, yeah, that guy was okay. I'm a fucking carry lord though, so get out of my way. Like camp my fucking lane, like you NA dipshit, and like
it's glorious though. Like if it wasn't for the fact, like in your case, he's your teammate, you're gonna have to work with that guy. Like there's a story, it's brilliant though. Like yeah, it sounds hilarious as a character.
I actually didn't mind playing with Piglet that much, like in game. I thought it was like pretty good, but it was just so impossible to like have any team identity, you know? Like
class.
Like imagine, so you know, like the way that you kind of described Wonder, where you're like, it's impossible to like argue with this guy, like it's almost pointless because he's just good, like so set in his ways. Playing with TL was like playing with 4 Wonders. That's what it was like. It was like, okay, so I got a Wonder in every lane. So what like no one's ever gonna be happy, you know? The only time that people are happy is when like the enemies just can't play the game. Like we would just, the only way, like, if you remember the team that we played on, essentially the way that we would win, we had no cohesion in general at all, right? It was just we had top 2 players in every role, and we would just try to like 1v1 beat the enemies. It was like 4 1v1s.
Yeah, no problem, right? As long as all 3 people in their lane, Dom, you're always doing a good job, mate.
Yeah,
how that works, isn't it, for the jungle role?
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what it was. It was like, okay, I got to shit on the jungler, you got to shit on mid, you got to shit on bot, and you got to shit on top. And if any of you don't do it, then it's a draft problem and you're going on a tank next game. So like, it was just such a weird situation to be in.